Hey, Planeswalkers, Mithras here. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Today, I got a #1 deck for you coming out of the channel, Fireball Pro November tournament. So this is a deck, another one that I have not covered, so very excited about this. A flavor of something similar, but hey, nonetheless, it is a top deck that we should definitely take a look at today. So Planeswalkers, with that said, as always, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe down over there to the channel. Additionally, you can like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on content like this. And to stay on top of my Mythic journey and how I'm doing over the course of this period, please feel free to check out my Untapped profile down below as well. All right, Planeswalkers. So what deck won the channel Fireball Pro November tournament? Well, my friends, we have a Mardu Doom deck. So what is this? Well, my friends, this is traditionally called a Mardu Yorion Doom deck or Mardu control deck. So that gives us, for those of you that are new, the color scheme of Mardu colors is red, black, and white, or mountains, swamps, and plains to give us the Mardu color. Again, we got Yorion here, so Yorion's our companion. So again, this companion deck, Yorion Sky Nomad here, our constraint is that our starting deck must contain 20 more than its minimum deck size. So in this case, we have 80 cards. And then when Yorion enters the battlefield, the thing that we get is we get to exile any number of other non-land permanents we control and return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So that's awesome. And then additionally, what we have is our Doom component here. So Doom Foretold, this is a key card in this deck. So first off, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-land, non-token permanent. If that player can't, they discard a card. If they lose 2 life, you draw a card, we gain 2 life, and we create a 2/2 Knight creature token with Vigilance, and then we sacrifice Doom Foretold. So again, a very, very powerful deck. Different flavors of this one. Again, this one in particular is being Mardu. Essentially, you're splashing for red to get Omen of the Forge here, making this pretty much all enchantments, which we'll come back and take a look at here in a minute for the most part. So Planeswalkers, before we go ahead and take a look at the deck list here, we'll cover the main board, we'll cover the sideboard, we'll talk about how to sideboard, then we'll go play some best of 1 and best of 3 matches. And then quickly, the objective of this deck is really to kind of tax your opponent with Doom Foretold, build up your board, and then hit in with things like Archon of Sun's Grace or Yorion Sky Nomad for the win. And then lastly, Planeswalkers, this deck list is available for you down below in the description, so you have access to it right away. And additionally, the deck lists are there for you in links as well if you prefer that. All right, so what do we got going on, Planeswalkers? Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about each of these because it is pretty important. And additionally, we want to make sure we have it down before we go ahead and pop into some competitive Magic here. Just going through the lands real quick. And then again, for those of you who wanted to know, this is 31 lands because it is a good old Yorion 80 card deck. And we aren't running anything but these 4 additionally in terms of modal lands. All right, so we covered Yorion, we covered what Companion does. So first off, we have Glass Casket. So Glass Casket enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or less until Glass Casket leaves the battlefield. We have Lithoform Blight. So this is one that we haven't played yet. This one comes again from Zendikar's Rising and is an uncommon. So here we get an enchanted land. When Lithoform Blight enters the battlefield, we get to draw a card. And then additionally, enchanted land loses all land types and abilities and has tap, add a colorless, and then they can tap 1 and pay 1 life and then add one mana of any color. So 2 things here. This can work against your opponent or it can work for you. So in the case of if you need to get that mountain color, you can play it on your own land, or if you're missing something, that's one way, or you play it on your opponents and lock them out and make them pay. Next, we have Omen of the Forge. So here's another one that we haven't covered recently, but this one is from Theros. It's a flash enchantment for 2 that deals 2 damage to any target. And then again, we can pay 3, sacrifice Omen of the Forge, and scry 2. We have 2 Maze Mind of the Tombs here. So this is again a great card from M21, one of my favorites. We get to put a page counter on Maze Mind Tomb, scry 1. If we tap it, and then additionally we can pay 2, put a page counter on Maze Mind, draw a card, and then when there are 4 or more page counters on Maze Mind Tomb, we can exile it, and we gain 4 life. So a great way to get some life back. Next, we have Omen of the Sun. Again, a flash enchantment coming from Theros. When it enters, we get to create 2 1/1 human tokens, or human soldier tokens, and then we gain 2 life. And then additionally here, we can scry 2 if we pay 3. We have Skyclave Apparition. Again, one of the most powerful, probably white cards or plains cards coming out of Zendikar's Rising here. This card, when it enters the battlefield, we get to exile up to 1 non-land permanent we don't control with converted mana cost 4 or less. When this leaves, that card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the converted mana cost. Then we have Elspeth's Nightmare. So here we get to destroy target creature opponent controls with power 2 or less. Target opponent reveals their hand. We choose a non-creature, non-land card. That player discards it. And we get to exile target opponent's graveyard. Next, we have Treacherous Blessing. So here, when Treacherous Blessing enters the battlefield, we get to draw 3 cards. Whenever we cast a spell, we lose 1 life. And then when Treacherous Blessing becomes the target of a spell or ability, we may sacrifice it. We have Archon's Sun's Grace. So here we get a flyer with lifelink, and then Pegasus creatures we control have lifelink. This does have Constellation, again, which is a key mechanic out of Theros. But whenever a enchantment enters the battlefield under our control, we get to create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. Then we have Doom Foretold, which is what we've already talked about as a key component of this deck in terms of naming convention. We have Elspeth Conquers Death. So here we get to exile a target permanent an opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Additionally, non-creature spells our opponents cost 2 more to cast until our next turn. And then lastly, we get to return a target creature or planeswalker from our graveyard. Either put a +1/+1 counter on it or a loyalty. And then again, we have 3 main-boarded Yorions as well. Lastly, rounding it all out, we have a modal land. Here we can create 2 4/4 White Angel warrior tokens. And then non-angel creatures we control gain indestructible until next turn. Or we can have it come in as a land. We can also pay the 3 to have it come in untapped. Alright, Planeswalkers, and then we are running modal lands here as well. We got a Scry land, and again, some more modal lands. We have our Cycle land here, and Triumph land, and Fabled Passage. So that is our main board. That is a lot of stuff, but we do have a big beefy deck here that I'm looking forward to playing today. And again, I should have mentioned this particular deck is by the player, I believe, Mind Rot Man, who is Jan Moritz Merkel. So congratulations, Jan. I'm probably mispronouncing that because I believe it is German, and my German is pretty bad. So anyway, next let's go ahead and talk about the sideboard, and then we'll talk about how to sideboard, and then we'll hop into some competitive Magic here. So first off, we got Tormod's Crypt. So one, we do have Elspeth's Nightmare here to exile opponent's graveyard. Tormod's Crypt will allow us to exile cards from a target player's graveyard. So if we wanted to, we can exile our own, which you may want to do against a Dimir Rogues deck. So something just to think about. So that's where you could play this. Additionally, if you're playing an opponent who's playing a mid-range deck, you may want to play this as well. So that could be things like Rakdos, or opponents that are playing graveyard cards as well. So one of those, minus the Rakdos mid-range deck, could be something like a mono red that's running Ox, or big red that's running Ox. Anyone that's going to try and leverage those. Obviously, we talked about the Crocs already. So that's where you would play that. Additionally, since we do have Elspeth's Nightmare already, if you need to exile your own graveyard, we could do that against the Rogue decks, but also anytime that you would play against that opponent that's filling theirs as well. So they might have things like Skyclave Shades. If they're running Tritons, Golgari as well is a good one to run this against. Next, we got Cling to Dust. So if they're not necessarily playing as many in terms of leveraging their full graveyard or your full graveyard, this one is exile a target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, you draw a card. So again, you can target yours with this one. Again, exile target card from a graveyard, not an opponent's graveyard. And then it also has the ability to thin. So again, just like Tormod's Graveyard, you could play Cling to Dust against all those same decks. So that's going to be mid-range. That could be anyone playing like an Ox or, again, the Phoenixes. So mono red, big red, those kinds of things. To give you an idea, additionally, the Rogues decks, you may want to play it. Anyone running a Lurrus deck, I should have covered that for those too. So that could have been things like a mono white enchant. It could have been the Orzhov one that we did. It could also be a mono black enchantments deck. Lots of spots that you could play this. That's a great card to play. And anyone milling you too if you wanted. We got Duress. So here you're going to play this against the other Yorion matches or matchups, particularly Doom Foretold decks, so you can pull all these enchantments out of their hands, or against control decks, things like Jeskai, some of those other ones that we've played, Grixis Control, those things as well. Next, we have Heartless Act. So here you're going to want to play this card against mainly aggro decks or creature-based decks. So this is destroy target creature with no counters on it. Remove up to 3 counters from that target creature. You could play it in a mirror match, just like Duress, because it does only remove non-creature, non-land from it. But here, if you do run this, you'd have to be hanging on to it for some very specific counters in terms of Yorion, in terms of Arch and Sun's Grace, or even Skyclave if you wanted. So those are some considerations, but really things against like Gruul aggro. This is a good one. It's also great against mono red. It's great against mono green. Any creature-based decks, the Warriors decks that we've done, the Boros Knights ones as well. Those are some good ones for you. And you could run against Rogues. Maze Mine Tomb. Here we have 2 main board. Here we've already covered the card. So where would I play this? I would play this against more of your late game or Yorion decks. Any Yorion deck, this one's going to be fine. I would also run it if you need the life gain too early on, just in case. Just a thought. I prefer running these because I do like the hand smoothing. So I could see this being played against any of the aggro mid-range or late game decks if you wanted to. Again, I just really like this one. And then Soul Shatter. So the big one here is really against either taking off a big creature, so if they're playing Yorion, or definitely a Planeswalker. So we do have a 1-of, which is good situationally. So some things to consider. You might want to play this against things like mono white, if they're running Bozard Ket, those kinds of things. Also the Jeskai decks, and anyone running Nahiri for some of those warrior decks. Lots of good areas that you could play these as well. So Planeswalkers, that is the sideboard for you. We'll talk quickly here about how to sideboard, and we'll do it from an aggro, mid-range, and late game perspective. So first off, in the aggro, and I'm going to pull the mill out because we kind of covered those with Tormod's Crypt and Cling to Dust. The other ones are going to be more situational, but aggro, you're probably going to want to run the Heartless Axe. You may want to run the Maze Mine Tomb. You may want to run Soul Shatter. So we'll go 4 to 6 cards that you can kind of target in terms of removal. So for the aggro ones, you're definitely going to pull off Elspeth Conquers Death, minus maybe Gruul, which I would still slightly consider mid-range. You might trim that to 2. You might trim a Yorion to 1 or 2. I would probably keep these. Omen of the Forge might be considered a cut if they're on the higher end, like more of the mono green aggro and Gruul aggro. as you might not hit as much. The other one that you could consider here too is Elspeth's Nightmare. I do like looking at my opponent's hand, but if they are more creature based, this one might not get as much out of it for you. So those are some considerations. I would definitely keep Arkan. I would keep Doom Foretold, and those kinds of things. And again, we're running pretty tight on lands, so I probably would keep the lands at where they're at. So that's that. Mid-range, you're probably gonna, again, if they're a Croxa type deck, we'll consider some of that. So I like the Tormod's Crypt. I like the Cling to Dust. You may want to Duress, especially if you're going to run Duress if they got removal for enchantments. Other than that, you're probably not going to have to worry about it too much. So let's go 4 to 6 again. So not quite as aggro-y. So if they aren't running creatures, Glass Casket's a first consideration. Again, you can put in the Maze Mind Tombs. If they are running Graveyard, you're going to want to keep Elspeth in there. Where you may want to cut again is at the higher end here. If you're not hitting anything, I would maybe go 2 on there, and you could always go Yorion. So that's a good 4 to 8 cards, technically, the way I would look at it, that you could play around with there. So you're not going to be trading out necessarily too much, which is nice. And lastly, if you do play a mill deck, you can always sideboard more of these in. And go above the 80 to like something like a 90 if you wanted, or 82, 84, those kinds of things. Then lastly here, against control decks or other Yorion decks that tend to be late game, you may want to run a Cling to Dust. You're probably going to want to run Duress. You may want to run the Heartless Axe or even a Soul Shatter or a Maze Mind Tomb. So if you do bring more of it in, you're probably not necessarily going to want to run the Omen Forge. The nice thing though about Omen Forge is it does ping any target, so you can do the chip damage at your opponent, and if you do have Lithoform Blights on there and they're tapping those mana, that might be a good way to kind of wind them down. But if it's not quite doing it for you, let's think again about how we would maybe cut on some of those later game decks. You're probably going to drop Glass Casket. So that's 4. You may want to consider an Elspeth's Nightmare too, as well, even though you can look at your opponent's hand and get something out of there. That could be a thought. You may want to drop 1 Yorion. What else? Again, you could go the Omen of the Forges too. So lots of good spots for you to do that. I probably wouldn't change up too much again here towards the late game. I think it's going to be pretty important to kind of keep those. So there you go, Planeswalkers. We talked about the deck naming convention. We talked about the key objectives with the deck in terms of kind of the taxation with Doom Foretold and playing from that perspective, getting the chip damage in there. Then we talked about the sideboard along with that main board and how to do it. And so now we're going to go ahead and pop into our best of 1 and best of 3 competitive matches today. If you do have questions or comments, please let me know down below. Always happy to help. Again, this was the #1 deck coming out of the Channel Fireball Pro November event. So very, very impressive to see this one. Lots of different flavors. So let's go ahead, and then as always the deck list is available for you down below in the description, and deck links are down there for you too, should you prefer that. All right, let's hop right into it, my friends. Go standard rank. There's the Orzhov party deck you guys can absolutely check out as well. It was a top 50. All right, we are off, Planeswalkers, and turn that volume up just a little bit. Ooh. Now, as we wait against I Don't Care, I believe, IDC, maybe that's JDC. So we got a Lurrus deck, so it's probably a Rogues deck. Quickly here, as always, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the video, please like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch, stay up to date on content like this. All right, so we'll see what's going on here. I am connected. We got two things here. I will keep this. I will keep this. So we'll go Triome into Fabled. Alright, so we do have a mill deck. I was really hoping to get a bunch of those. But I'll hope even more for a land. Because we haven't hit any. Let's grab our whites. We have our double white for Skyclave. So we'll take the Thieves Guild Enforcer out. With this. And I will actually use the Skyclave Apparition on the Soaring Thief. And then I can use the Elspeth's Nightmare on Root Crab. If that's the play that works out here. And I did this, so this goes away too if they do kill Skyclave. We haven't hit any Dooms yet, which is good. I'll leave that. So next we'll play the Archon of Sun's Grace. We'll play the next Archon of Sun's Grace next turn. Oh man, we are going to probably get milled out at this point. And Treacherous Blessing is not going to help us either. Well, we could play Doom Foretold. Now we'll have to play Doom. We are going to get milled at 80, which is impressive. No flash, huh? we go. So on the stack, we can do this. Keep that. Dump Omen. Just takes one land, huh? Uh-oh. There it is. Oh. Alright, we move on. That is extremely unfortunate to lose to a mill deck when we are a Yorion deck and could not connect. That is just unfortunate. Alright, on to our next match here with our #1 Mardu control, Mardu Yorion Doom deck, whatever you want to call it, my friends. Matches are definitely longer with this sucker, though. Captain Germany, there we go. That's a perfect matchup for us. Alright, we got Doom Foretold, we got a lot of things here. No control off the bat, though. I'll take that, so I got my 4. Alright, so we got an Adventures deck. Probably Temur. Not Temur, sorry. Gruul aggro, most likely. Yep. We'll see if we can bait the Edgewell. That's what I'm going for here. There we go. A double block just in case they have a giant. Alright, so we're good there. So now we can go Doom Foretold. So we have Treacherous Blessing. Once we get 2 things on the board, double up here, we'll be in a good spot. We'll drop that. Let's see if we can get some options. There we go. So we have to play the plains. We're still in it, my friends. Barely, though. So if we go 4, not enough yet. So we need to do this. And we do that. So they need a Fabled Passage. Or another Cleave. So we have another land. We can do this. And we can do that. All right. Really close here. But if they don't have lethal this turn, we're going to turn it around. Get rid of that. And we can do another one of these. And double up on the mountains there. And we'll be close to lethal next turn. 6, 10, 14. We have lethal. There you go. Good news is we got our Doom Foretold. And lethal. Oof. Nice. Good win there and turn it around. So we lost to the control deck and we beat the aggro deck. Well, Dimir Mill control, whatever you want to call it. But oof. Nice. All right, Planeswalkers. Let's go ahead and play our best of 3 with our traditional standard ranked. Again, the Orzhov party deck that you guys can check out. So let's go ahead and do this. As always, Planeswalkers, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, like the video if you like it. You can like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. Really enjoying our #1 deck here out of the Channel Fireball Pro November event. Looking pretty good so far. Still surprised that we got milled out. Of course, I would be the one that plays the 80 card deck. Alright, Cretus it is. Ooh, we'll play first. And I will keep this. Luris, so hopefully we can get some revenge on a rogue deck here. This is helpful. Keep that. Ooh, white. We'll go grab our 1 red. Ooh, cycle deck. Here we go. This will be interesting. So we'll need to go grab Tormods here. Absolutely, we'll need Tormods. We don't want to hurt ourselves there either. Well, let's do it though. What do I want to discard? Keep the casket. Get rid of the Triumph. I gotta move real fast. Discard 1 casket. we have in here? I'm actually going to play this, get my flyer up. Discard 2 cards. Let's get Fabled Passage and one else best. First. So they have lethal right now. If they don't have it, we'll be in a good spot. Not much we could do there. So now we need the crypts. So here's what we grab. We grab the crypts, we grab the duress, we grab the clings, and we grab these. And I'll keep the caskets. Don't need those. I'm gonna drop a Yorion. We need these. I like those. I'd keep this. We can keep that. 5 more, huh? What do we got? 31 lands. Drop 2 of those. Because we had 3, we'll keep one of those main. And I still want the life. We want those. Up to 3. Skyclave's still good. We want the 1 draw. 1 Arcan. There we go. We'll go tighter on the low end. Alright. Let's see if we can pull this back. We should have had that the first match. Not enough lands. Of course. Keep this. Drop 1 Doom. There you go. Let me get rid of that. Not gonna give it to him. So now all we need to do is we'll pull our flyer back. Take 5. That's not what we're gonna need. We'll take the 4 life here. Keep that one. I want to get rid of the robber. We'll get that guy off. I need to move that. Now, I also took this guy so they couldn't double block there. We need some health. We need some health. There we go. They can still beat us if they cycle enough. So we do have these two maze mines here though. Oh man. I'll wait. Get this guy off the board. There we go. There we go. Oof, we got it back. All right, on to the next one here. Could go Heartless Axe, because they got real aggressive there. That wouldn't be bad. That would not be bad. I think we're okay though. I'll keep it. Let's try it again. Whew. Oh, there's the robber. Here we go. At least we hit what we needed to here. Let's take a peeker. There we go. so we'll hit it with Glass Casket first. Take his guy. And we'll play that. Could have used Tormod's Crypt there. All right. Looking good at the moment. It's not over yet though, obviously. I don't know why it doesn't do that. One, two, three, four, five. There we go, my friends. We did it. So we went 1-1 in best of one. We lost the Rogues deck. We beat the Gruul aggro deck, and then we beat a cycle deck here in best of three. So well played today. Very happy with these results. Again, the #1 channel Fireball Pro event for November. So very awesome here. Let's go ahead and look at this deck again. It's the Mardu deck. Oop. Mardu Doom Mardu Doom, Mardoom. Lots of different good names. Anyway, okay, sorry, I'm screwing around. So here's what we got going on, Planeswalkers. Deck list available for you down below. Links available down below. If you got questions, comments, let me know. Here we go again. Very, very solid. Worked out really well in our favor today. Played very nicely and felt very good too. So always important there. Lastly, Planeswalkers, I appreciate your support. As always, please feel free to subscribe to the channel down over there. Additionally, if you like the deck, please like it. You can also like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Stay up to date on content like this. All right, well, hope you're off. Enjoy the deck. Again, congratulations to Jan for their #1 spot here, Jan Moritz Merkel. And Planeswalkers, you stay safe, you take care. I'll see you again soon. Looking forward to the next one. Stay tuned, a lot more content coming your way. Mithras out.